Each of you has been given a guide to throwing. This is just a visual guide to have at your wheel as you work, and you can go step by step through the process. Keep in mind that this is a right-handed throwing guide. There is a left-handed throwing guide available to you in the studio. Let's start with step 1, throw down and seal. First, you want to have the wheel speed as stopped. You want to throw a wedged piece of clay down in the center of the wheel. And then medium to slow speed, you want to make a seal by running a wet finger at the base of your clay as the wheel revolves. So when you set up your wheel, make sure you take your bat and the bat is facing up and put it into the little bat pins. I'm going to add a little ring of water right here in the center, and notice how small amount of water that is. Take your wedged piece of clay and pat it down in the middle. This will seal it down. Then we're going to go to patty cake. So you want a slow to medium speed here with your hands at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. You're going to use your palms and you're going to just pat the clay as the wheel revolves. It's important to keep patting until you get like a volcano type shape. It's kind of a tapered shape towards the top. This is your first way of centering the clay, pushing it towards the center of the wheel, and you can see that's kind of the general shape. Step 3 is mound. This is where you're going to be going medium fast speed. You're going to wet your hands at 3 and 9 o'clock. The wet hands are going to press down to make a mound with both palms. This is the first time you're going to put water on your clay, and I'm really using the weight of my body, my shoulders and my palms to push the clay down and then push my hands out towards the bottom of the clay on the wheel head. Make that mound shape. You have to really use your core muscles to push that clay downward. Even helps to hold your breath. Step 4 is volcano. On your worksheet, the volcano is going to be medium fast speed, wet hands at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. You want to start at the bottom and make a volcano shape. By squeezing the clay towards the center, you're going to draw your hands upward as you do this to form that shape. You can see I'm locking my elbows in towards my thighs. So you want to really use that, and then the palm of your hand, you're using that L shape, the bottom of your palm and up the side towards your thumb to really push inward. So you can see that goes straight into a volcano shape. As I'm pushing in, I'm lifting the clay slightly and pushing into the center. You're not pulling the clay straight up. Step 5 is plateau. Speed is going to be medium fast, and for your hands, you want them to be wet, and the left hand is going to be on the side at about 9 o'clock. The right hand is going to be on top. Using your right hand, you're going to press down while the left hand presses in and supports the form. You're using your palms for this step. Okay, so I'm wetting my form and wetting my hands. You can see my left hand is supporting the form and my right hand's right on top, and I'm kind of pushing down. I'm using the side of my pinky, that bone that kind of extends into the palm of your hands. If that doesn't work, move your hand into a fist, whichever works for you. And I'm using equal strength from the top and the side to press in. And then you'll notice that I just went straight into the mound form, and now I'm going straight into the volcano form, lifting up slightly but still pushing inward, and now pushing down again into a volcano or into a plateau. This is called a potter's wedge, and you will do this about 3 times to push the clay towards the center on the wheel head. This is the basis for all the forms that you will make in this class. You have to get these steps down in order to then open up your clay and pull up walls to make forms. Overall, all these steps combined are called centering. Here's an aerial view where you can really see how my palms are at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock going up into the volcano, and then my left side's at 9 o'clock. My right hand is at the top, pushing down into plateau. And then I'm using that sponge. I actually put it into my thumb, and I can just squeeze water when I need it. Okay, step 6 is open sesame. You want medium speed, and your hands are at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Use your thumbs and press down into the center of the clay mound. You're creating a small well. You can then add a little bit of water to that well and then open it up even further. Lock your elbows in. Put a little bit of pressure to make sure you are on center. Add a little water to the well, and then continue by pushing your thumbs straight down into the center of the form. You don't want your thumbs to look like they're moving from left to right. You want it to go straight down. If you can't reach all the way down, you could use one thumb and use your other hand to support. Now is the only time that you're going to stop your wheel and touch your clay. You want to grab your needle tool, stab the center of the clay, draw your hand down into the center, lock the whole unit in place, and then pull your hand and the needle tool out at the same time. This will allow you to see the depth of the clay at the bottom of your form. You want roughly 1/4 inch. Step 7 is hook it open. For this, you want your wheel speed to be at medium. Your hands are going to be, for right-handers, at 6 o'clock. Right hand, you're going to use your pointer finger, and your left hand is for support. Use the pad of your fingers to press at the bottom of the clay, inside the form, hooking your fingers and pulling towards 6 o'clock. That's straight towards you. You want to lessen the hook for a rounded bottom, or keep the hook stronger for a straight bottom. So here you can see I'm taking my right hand, using my pointer, or even your middle finger will work. I'm hooking my hand, and then I'm going to pull it towards me. Use your non-dominant hand to support the wrist and keep your hand steady. Go slow for this process. You don't want to tear the clay open really quickly. I always add a little bit of water if I feel like the clay is getting dry, and then I can continue opening. And how far you open is determined by what form you're actually making. Next, you want to compress, compress, compress. You're taking your fingertips and going from 3 o'clock on the wheel head to the center of the form and back and forth, back and forth. Step 8 is squeeze. You want to slow your wheel head down to medium slow. Your hands are at 4 o'clock for right-handers. Your right hand's on the outside and your left hand is on the inside. Use the entire length of your fingers and slowly squeeze the clay between your 2 fingers, and that will help the clay go upward. So I'm interlocking my fingers, using my thumbs to interlock together. Some people call this the butterfly stance. You can then squeeze your fingers together, even drawing your wrists upward. The next step is a traditional pull. For this, for right-handers, you want slow to medium speed, hands at 4 o'clock still, right hand on the outside, left hand on the inside. Use the pad of your fingers and slowly squeeze them together. Notch. Maintain that pressure and slowly raise the notch towards the sky. You want to lessen the pressure as you move up the form, and at the top 1/3 of the form, you're very, very gentle. Here you can see I'm taking my outside hand and I'm pressing inward to make that notch, and I'm going to stop my wheel so you can really see what I'm doing. See that notch? That's a pretty strong notch right there, so you probably don't want to start too strong for your first times throwing. But now I'm going to take my right hand, and my left hand is really just moving straight up and down. I'm not pushing outward with my inside hand. My right hand is pushing against my inside hand as I raise my hands upward towards the sky. You want to maintain the same speed as you go up, but you want to lessen the pressure and float away the top. Take the water out of the inside and then put some more water on the sides of your cylinder form. I'm adjusting the lip. And then I'm going to do another pull. Make a subtle notch and then slowly raise that up towards the sky. It should take 10 seconds from you to get from the bottom of your form to the top of your form. If you're doing it under 10 seconds, you're moving your hands too fast. And it's important to maintain pressure from the outside, not from the inside hand. Take the water out from the bottom and always reapply it to the side walls. I'm going to show you what happens if you apply pressure from the inside hand. And this works for left-handers or right-handers. Whichever hand's on the inside, if you're pressing out, your form is going to open up. So if you use your inside hand, it will open up. If you use your outside hand, it will go straight up and down. If you don't like that, you can do this basic collaring form where you take both hands at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, wet your hands really well, and you just kind of grip the surface and raise your hands up with your palms and press inward slightly. Now that you have your cylinder, you want to pre-trim it and cut it off the wheel head. Pre-trimming is just taking your wooden knife tool, and you want to use it just like you would write with a pencil, your finger towards the top of the tool. Press the tool slightly into that excess little bit of clay that flares out at the bottom. And I'm making a little groove. I'm following that groove around and around and around. Watch how slow this is. Go nice and slow. Cut in all the way to the wheel head. Then you can take your needle tool, and it's really easy. You just slide it underneath, separating that excess clay. Slice it and pull it right off. I then like to take my wooden knife again and just go into the very base and put a little groove so that when I cut it off the wheel with my wire tool, I have a place for the wire tool to kind of go into. Take your wire tool, wrap it around your finger so that only a little bit of the wire is exposed. Press it down against the wheel head with your thumbs and slide it underneath your vessel. You can see that just slid off slightly. And that is basically how to throw a cylinder.